All right. Hello, everyone. We just finished class, and now I'm just going to show you how the draw event works and then why there was a glitch in our program so that our health bar suddenly decreased into a tiny little point when we hit it, and then it wouldn't continue going down afterwards. Um, so we'll get started with that. Yeah, here's what our health bar should kind of look like at the end, and then it should work properly. So let's get started by opening up Object Boss and going to the draw event. So in our draw event, we have our health bar logic right here, and it's draw set color, and then we do C underscore red. So C stands for color, and then you do underscore and whatever color you want. So you could do C white, C blue. Here I have C white. Now when we have the next piece of code underneath the color draw set color function, we're gonna get whatever color we set the color to. So here we set it red, so our rectangle is literally red, and that's what you can see here. Now you can see that there's an outline, and that's the next two lines of code, line 6 and line 7. And that's because this function, the draw rectangle function, has two parameters. It wants you to draw x1, y1, which is one corner of a rectangle, and then y2, y2, x2, y2, which is the opposite corner of your rectangle. And then it asks for an outline, which you can write as in false or true. So for line 5, we have false, meaning that we want it to be filled in. For line 7, we have true, which means that we want it to be an outline. And that's how you get this white outline and then red center for your health bar. Okay, now moving forward, we need to understand what x1, y1, x2, y2 is. So I want you to first understand that we're working with pixels. Now I'm going to open up Sprite Boss here, and if I go to Edit Sprite and zoom right in, here are all of our pixels. Each one of these squares is an individual color that works with other pixels in concert to make an image. Now here we have our image. Like this eyeball right here is at x38 and y37, right? And you can see that right here. Now the very top left of anything in GameMaker is 0, 0, meaning x equals 0 and y equals 0. So right here, this little X mark is 0, 0 for Object Boss. And so when I look at the origin right here, it says x equals 0 and y equals 0. Now I can actually click right here and change the origin. And you can see that there's a crosshairs that moves around with my mouse where I'm clicking. I can click center and the origin changes to the center. Now if I open up my room game, you'll see that my boss has moved around a little bit. It's right there. If I change the origin to my object boss, to my sprite boss, back to 0, 0, you'll see it update. So I change that to 0 and then y 0. If I click OK, watch over here. Boom, it changes back. So that's what we're doing with our sprite origin and pixels. Now if I open up the draw event again, the draw event is updating 30 times per second, right? It's like a step event except for drawing. So we have objectBoss.x minus 25 pixels. And as you can see over here, we have the origin, which is objectBoss.x, and then we have minus 25 pixels. So we're moving leftwards 25 little squares. Oh, and just so you can see, this image down here shows you x1, y1, right? The top left corner of a rectangle, and then x2, y2, which is the bottom right corner of a rectangle. So you're just showing the program what two corners you want to be your health bar when we're typing this in. So right now we're doing x1, y1. So here's x1, and then we do comma, and we're going to do y1. So y1 is the same thing, object boss, but we type in dot y instead of dot x, right, for the y origin. And then we type in minus 40. And so if we come back to our image here, you can see that now that we've moved object boss.x negative 25 pixels in the x direction, we're also going to do object boss.y minus 40 pixels going up. And so if you're used to doing math at school with graphs, you know that y goes up when it or increases when it goes up, but decreases when it goes down. Now in GameMaker, y is reversed, but x stays the same for graphs. So we decrease y when we go up, and we increase y when we go down. It's a little confusing, but you'll get the hang of it. All right. Now, as we move on, we're going to x2 and y2, which, remember, that's the opposite corner of whatever square we're writing. Now, for here, for in the case of our health bar, x1 and y1 are the bottom left corner, and x2 and y2 are going to be the top right corner. So it's flipped vertically from this example that I gave down here. So now we're doing object boss.x, right? This is our x2, but it's going to be minus 25 again, but this time plus HP percent divided by 2 in parentheses. So the reason for doing HP percent divided by 2 in parentheses is because we are still dealing with pixels. So if our health bar equals 100, then that means we're doing negative 25 plus 100 pixels, which would end up all the way over here. But then we're dividing it in 2, which is right here. And this is a step event, but for drawing. So it's constantly updating this 30 times per second. Every frame of the game, when you get hit and you take away 10 hit points, the HP percent variable updates, and then it's dividing that by 2. So really what you end up with is this tiny little health bar. We just don't want a really big health bar. And that's why we're dividing by 2 here in parentheses from the percentage. Okay, now for object y2. So, for y2, which is object boss.y minus 50 pixels. So we've done this again, but instead of going negative 40 pixels, now we're doing x minus 25 plus 100 divided by 2, and then minus 50 instead of 40. So that means that we're going up 10 more pixels from the y1 origin. And that may or may not make a whole lot of sense to you. You can listen to this video again. You can also look at this image, pause the video, and think about it. It will eventually start to sink in, as it did for me, because it took me time to. All right, so we're going to go back to our game, and we can actually play our game now. I do want to give you that hint, that answer to the problem, the challenge question I gave you. So I gave you a challenge question: why was your health bar just going all the way down? And that is because we had typed in HP current equals negative 10. Now, if you remember from week 1 with our score, when we make a score, we have to make the score equal to the score minus or plus whatever we want. So the program or the software will not do what you don't tell it to do. So you have to be very, very specific with your information. Where we're currently just telling the software to set the health bar to negative 10 every time we hit the boss with the fireball. But what we really needed to do was do the health bar equals the health bar minus 10. All right, and then you should be all set to go. And we can go ahead and test the game really fast. I don't know if I reset the origin of my boss. So my boss might be looking kind of funky in relation to the health bar. Like the health bar might be in its face or something. I can't remember if I reset it. So we'll see. Oh, it looks like it's in a good spot. I put it back. There you go. And it goes down slowly. Okay. And there's more coding and learning to do for Thursday. So I'll just go ahead and stop here. And in the next video, you'll learn more.